Hi, this is Shui with a review of a fascinating shoe from Skechers. Skechers, many people assume because of the ad it had or the sponsorship it had with the um, teeny bopper idols like Britney Spears. It feels like Skechers. Those are glittery shoes for little girls or teenagers. But no, Skechers is a brand that's been going strong. They may have marketed themselves that way earlier in the 90s, but they are serious brands. Their running shoes are actually winning over a lot of serious marathoners and professionals, and they've actually launched another brand, or rather they fund another brand called the brand Black. For those of you who are basketball aficionados, you may have heard of a shoe called Rare Metal, and that was a mega hit. Great cushioning, amazing technology, good fit, and overall it was great. And Lonzo Ball, LeVar Ball's son, LeVar Ball made a lot of noise about launching the Big Baller brand, which cost like $500 or $1,000 for a special edition, but they could not deliver on their bark. Their bite was not there. Their shoes were falling off. They did not have the technology. They thought if they just make a good-looking shoe and hype it up, they could sell it. But people are not idiots, especially if they're wearing that to play basketball. Lonzo Ball himself could not stand or wear that shoe, and he kept switching to other brands. But finally, they came to their senses and shook hands with Skechers, or rather the brand under Skechers, which is brand Black, and they actually just slapped the Big Baller brand and Lonzo Ball's name on it and called it a Lonzo Ball signature when it was just Rare Metal 2. Rare Metal 2, I think. Anyway, that was an amazing shoe, and they already have a second version of it out, another Rare Metal, but it looks like a hiking shoe, but apparently the cushioning and the performance aspect of it is amazing. So back to this, Skechers has usually the Go Run and the Go Walk series, and the Go Run, of course, is for running. This is the Go Walk Hyperburst. Hyperburst is an amazing cushioning technology. Initially, they started with a little bitty tiny slab of rubber that's like slightly bigger than my thumb, and in that they inject a lot of air. CO2 was it? Well, specific types of gas, and they really make it, have this unique density, and they blow up into this very soft and responsive. But the Go Run model, they are for runners, I guess, so they could not have it sinking a bit too much, so they tried to use half and half in terms of the hyperburst material they use for the runners, and sometimes they did have an overall hyperburst midsole, but what they did was they made it a lot more harder and rigid, but personally I felt it kind of killed the cushioning. So the Go Walk Hyperburst has a more ideal, soft overall cushioning. It feels like Boost that's been creamed or fluffed up even more. So it's softer than Boost and a lot lighter than Boost as well. The problem with Boost is it's super heavy, but here for size 9 it weighs about 240 grams, so that's very airy, and it feels even lighter than that. The upper material, they've made significant improvements from the previous Go Walk models, because they tried to have a one-piece booty, and the thing that didn't work out was they had a very wide fit overall. So you had your foot moving around and you didn't know if the length was right, so it was hard to find the right fit. It fit some of my friends who have really wide foot. Even for me, who is not exactly on the narrow side, I had a problem with the Go Walk. But the Go Walk Hyperburst, fortunately, they tinkered a little bit with the elasticity, or the stretchy materials around, and the knitted material that needs a little bit of an extra last or an extra stitching to make it more durable. So they came up with a nice little balance. They do have some plastic material around the toe, or the mud guard here, the toe box area, and it doesn't leave a lot of dead space, and this really stretchy area around the collars, it lets you slide your foot in easy, and you would think they'll come out easy, but interestingly they have a nice little heel cup. It's not just this fused material inside, there's also a rigid plastic heel counter there. So what happens is when you put this in, slide it in easily, it's not gonna have any heel slippage. It hugs your heel and ankle nicely. So that's a nice little touch. It's really sharp, as you can tell. It's not the fluffy duck web foot looking kind of design. This is a lot sharper, reminiscent of the good old shoes from the 80s and 90s. And while it looks sharp, it's not super narrow. For me, it fits true to size. If you have really narrow foot, you might even want to go down half a size. So the fit is a huge improvement from the previous gowalk model. The hyperburst, of course, I can't say anything more great about it except that it's boost on steroids, I guess. Super soft. They do have a nice heel to toe drop, not significant but adequate. And the outsole, it's a one-piece midsole outsole, so you would expect it to kind of not exactly provide the supreme grippiness all over. But what they did was they did try to dig a lot of grooves and have a lot of little nodules, huge nodules there, so that they would provide a significant level of grippiness and durability, so they won't just get cut out instantly once you step on some pebbles or asphalt or whatnot. So they tried to catch two birds with one stone. It's not a stellar kind of grip. They could use some rubber, but they didn't. One disappointment I have with the Go Run, which is supposed to be for serious running, they tried to, I guess, make it more lightweight, so they had minimal amount of rubber all around the outsole. So like maybe a little bit here, a little bit like accidentally sprayed here, a little like a brushing of a rubber there. So it's a little disappointing there. But interestingly, the slides or the slipper version of the Hyperburst actually has, if I remember correctly, Goodyear tire rubber all around the outsole. So why couldn't they do that with this and the Go Run? That's crazy and confusing. But all in all, for casual walking around, this is good. But I would suggest if you want maximum amount of hyperburst, super soft and plush and pillowy, go for the slippers or the slides. If you want durable outsole, go for the slippers or the slides. But if you need something that covers your foot and you want to experience hyperburst, go for it. The initial official price is not too high, but they never seem to go on sale. They do have another version with shoelaces on, so you might want to check that out as well. Overall, it's a huge improvement from its predecessor. Of course, this is the first of its kind in terms of having this revolutionary hyper burst cushioning. In terms of the upper end, the model that it's the forerunner of, or rather the children of. This is definitely an improvement, and I'm excited to see what Skechers does next. Maybe change the brand logo a little bit. We still think about Britney Spears and teen idols when you see this instead of a serious athletic wear.